Everybody. Hi there. Welcome to today's cooking demo. Welcome. Today is, what is today? Thursday. And we're going to be making a brand new recipe of mine today, green bean casserole. And it's a newer recipe, so it is not in my cookbook, Straight Up Food, but it's a great holiday recipe. So I thought I would go ahead and do that one today. But there's lots of other holiday related recipes, since we're here in December now, that are in the cookbook. If you are interested, I've done so many recipes at this point. I'm like, what haven't I done? So green bean casserole was one that I hadn't done, and I'll tell you why in a little while. But in the cookbook, there are recipes like lentil rice loaf, which is a really great centerpiece dish, since we're not doing any meat, no turkey, no ham, nothing like that. So the lentil rice loaf is like a meatless loaf, but it's really fragrant. It has sage and rosemary and thyme. And I did do a video on that, so you can look on YouTube for that video if you want. And if you can hear me and you can see me, go ahead and say hello, and I can see you right here in the chat when you do that. And the great thing about these classes is you can ask me anything in live real time, and we can talk and I can answer your questions. And it's great. What else is in the book that's kind of holiday? There's a great raw persimmon relish, cranberry persimmon relish in there that you don't even have to cook. You just put it in the food processor, and it's easy, breezy, and great. And then I do have a cooked cranberry recipe on my website, but that's not in the book. There's cornbread in here. That would be great for the holidays. Pumpkin pie, sweet potato pie. Hi, guys. Hi, Helena. Hi, Diane. And great. So come on in, you guys. We'll get started here in a second. I was just talking about the other holiday related recipes that are in my book: mashed potatoes, creamy mushroom gravy. What else? There's a lot in there. And there's also, if you go to straightupfood.com and you search for holiday, just search holiday, you will find the link to all of my favorite holiday recipes. I keep an ongoing list. Whenever I create a new recipe, I think, is this good for the holiday list? And then I add it. So I think there's over 50 recipes on there that I think are pretty appropriate for holiday meals. Hi, Karen. Hi, Shane. Hi, Mary. My kitty cat's at my feet here, asking me something. Okay, now he's leaving. All right, you guys. So Shane says, I made your lentil loaf and gravy. Oh yeah, I was just talking about that for Thanksgiving. Those are great recipes, great for Thanksgiving, Christmas, any holiday meal, or anytime. Hey, Daryl. Daryl's always here. Thank you, Daryl. So is Shane. So are a lot of you. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and move the book. I know a lot of you guys already have the cookbook, but if you don't, this is my one and only cookbook that I created 5 years ago, and it's great because it lays flat. It's got lots of nice color pictures. So check that out. You can find it on Amazon. You can find it at on my website, Straight Up Food. And it's actually on sale right now through tomorrow, through Friday. So if you're interested, pick one up, or for a friend. I'm going to go ahead and turn my pot on here so it can start getting hot. And I'm just going to put a little bit of water in the bottom. Hi, Annette. So happy to see you too. Hi, Carol. What are your cats' names? I have 3 cats. I have a 12-year-old orange cat named Leo. He's right here. Let me see if I can grab him. Come here. I like to see. He's a big boy. There's Leo. He's a good boy. He's 10. And then I have a 5-year-old brown tabby. And then I have a 2-year-old black cat. And the 2 younger ones are girls. I love my kitties. Hi, Helena. Love your cookbook. Thank you. Hi, Cicely. Leo. I know, Leo the lion. He's a good boy. I love all animals. I foster kittens for the local animal shelter. I just love them. I even love slugs. When I'm hiking and I see a slug in the middle of the trail, I'll move it to the side. All right, you guys, so let's get started. So again, today I'm going to make my newest recipe, green bean casserole. If you go to straightupfood.com, you will find it there if you want to follow along. And this is a pretty, I don't know, I guess I shouldn't say easy. There's some different parts to this recipe. We've got a sauce, we've got the beans and the veggies, and then we've got a little bit of the stuff to go on top. So I've got some different things going on here. In this pot, I'm going to be sauteing the veggies. So I have the pot warming up. And then back here, I've got another pot of water going to cook the green beans. So we're going to be doing a few things at once here. When you make this at home, you could just cook your green beans in one pot, drain them, and then use that same pot to saute. But for the class, I just wanted to do 2 separate pots. And if you guys have any questions as I'm going along, just feel free to put it in there, and I will check periodically. Hi, Nikki. Okay, I just heard a beep. That means my oven is preheated to 350. That's what we're going to be cooking this casserole at. And the first step in this green bean casserole is getting the sauce ingredients ready, because I use some cashews. So this is a 1/2 cup of raw unsalted cashews. Just going to turn that down a bit. And these are the ones I bought. You can buy them any way you want, but do strive to get raw, unsalted. They're great for sauces because they're white. They get nice and creamy. So 1/2 cup is in there, and then 1.5 cups water. And then I'm going to put in 2 tablespoons of flour. This is so the sauce, when it's baking, will thicken up. And it can be any kind of flour you want, really. I'm using oat flour today, but you can use any kind of flour, really. And then I'm just going to give this a little quick blend just to kind of get it started, get those nuts ground up so there's more surface area that the water can soften it faster. Okay, and then I'm just going to leave that, and then we're going to come back to that in a little while. Greetings from New York City. Yay. Very nice, very nice. I was just in New York City in September. I loved it. Okay, so that's step 1. And we've got our casserole dishes, and I'll come back to those in a little while and show you the dish I'm using. Step 2 is to cook the beans. I have the beans already cut up right here into, some people use, in their green bean casseroles, they use the beans nice and long. They just trim the ends. I like to trim the ends and then cut each bean in half. So they're about, 1 to 2 inches long there. So this is about 4 cups or 1 pound of green beans. I'm just going to put this right into my boiling water back here. It's nice and boiling. And we're going to set the timer for 5 minutes. Okay. And we're just going to boil those on high for 5 minutes until they get just tender. We don't want to overcook them. And then when we take them out, we're going to put them into some cold water over here with some ice in it. And that just stops the cooking all at once. Whoops, I'm drying my pan out because I'm talking a lot. So when the timer goes off, I'll show you that step. But while that's cooking, we're going to go to step 3. I've already preheated my oven. I'm going to saute some veggies next. We're going to do some onions, some mushrooms, some garlic, and then some rosemary as well. So I'm going to go ahead and, I need to cut the onion, but I'm going to go ahead and add the mushrooms since they're ready to go. And how many mushrooms did I say is this? About 3 to 4 cups, about a 1/2 pound of mushrooms. And this is the kind of mushroom I use today. I usually use the darker, the brown cremini mushrooms. But for this, I'm using the white because I find that using the brown, I don't know, the dish just turns out darker and I just wanted it a little lighter, but you can use either one. I left the stems on because they look nice. If your stems were kind of funky looking, then you could definitely snap those off. Okay. And I just have this kind of on medium high. Will this recipe featured in my follow-up cookbook? I don't know. I don't know. Maybe in a holiday cookbook that I make someday. Would you ever do a video of how you eat while you're traveling? I have an article on the website about that. I haven't done a video, but that would be a good idea for sure. Do I use a mandolin? If so, what kind? I do use a mandolin. A mandolin is a brand name. And this is my mandolin, if you're interested, to zest limes, lemons, grind nutmeg, stuff like that. So all different shapes of mandolins. So now I'm going to do my onion. I haven't cut it yet just because I thought I would do it right here in class. You just cut off either end. And for this recipe, I like to use a sweet onion. You don't have to, but I like it a little bit better. So just take off 1 or 2 layers. Got my rubbish bowl here. The older the onion is, the more layers you're going to have to peel off. But you don't want any of those papery or leathery layers in there. Remove all that. If you were, look at that, that's kind of yucky. So I'm going to go ahead and peel that layer off. If you only had a red onion, you could use that too. But I think the sweet onion works the best. So once you get it to that stage, just cut down the middle and then go side to side, turn it the other way. Oh, and for this recipe, usually when I chop an onion, I do small pieces. But for this one, since the green beans are kind of big and the mushrooms are kind of big, I like to keep the onion a little bit on the bigger side. So I'm going to do like 1 cut and 1 cut. And that way I'm ending up with a little bit bigger pieces of onion. But that's just my preference. Turn it around, do 1 cut, do another cut, and there we go. Can you make this without the mushrooms? Yeah, you can. I would just substitute another vegetable that you like cauliflower or broccoli or broccoli. What else would be good instead of the mushrooms? Sometimes I say eggplant, but I don't know if that would be so good. Just any other vegetable or combination of vegetables that you like. It's very traditional to have mushrooms in a green bean casserole, so that's why I'm doing them. I try to keep things as close to what we're already used to as possible. So we're just sauteing this on kind of medium-high heat. All right. So while these are cooking, okay, so I told you we have lots going on here. Our beans are done behind me, so I'm going to just take a step back and, oh, you know what I forgot is I like when you put the beans in the boiling water, it kind of slows down boiling for a minute. So you need to give it another minute or two to start boiling again. So let me just put a little more time on it. And what you can also do is get your tongs and just test one. So I'm going to take one out here and test it. But it's still a little bit firm, so I'm just going to give it another minute there. And I do keep a little thing of water here just in case it gets too dry. Some people only like doing dry sauteing with no water added, and you can certainly do that. It gives a little bit more flavor, I guess. But you have to keep your eye on it, and you have to keep stirring it. So while that's finishing and this is continuing to cook, I'm going to chop my garlic. I have 4 cloves in here. This is a little chopper, Tupperware garlic chopper that I love, love, love. So you just put your cloves in there and then you and if you guys are interested in any of the products I'm using, My moderator, Rebecca, will put the links up there for you. I do have an Amazon store that has all my favorite products in it, and you can go there to buy them if you like. So the more you pull, the more chopped that it gets. And then I'm going to grab my little tiny spatula, and I'm not even going to measure this because I can eyeball it pretty well. We're looking for about 1 tablespoon of garlic. Oops, it's getting a little bit brown, so let me add a little bit more water. And we add the garlic in a little bit later because it's more delicate. It can burn easier than onions, so that's why we add it in a little bit later. And then we're going to put in 1 teaspoon of finely chopped fresh rosemary, which looks like this before the leaves are taken off. This is a very holiday fresh herb. That, thyme, oregano, what's the other one? Anyway, if you didn't want to use rosemary, you could use thyme. You could use something else. But let me stir this before I get those beans. So we want these just to get nice and soft, kind of translucent. Oh my gosh, it smells so good in here. Okay, I'm just going to put a tiny bit of water in. And rosemary is a really robust fresh herb, so it can take some high heat like this, unlike cilantro or parsley or basil. All right, so I turn the heat off of the green beans here. Now I'm going to take it over here. And I've got a bowl full of water in the sink. Oh, I just remembered I want to drain these first. And I'm wondering what I did with let me grab my colander here. My colander's in the living room, an interesting place for a colander. But we want to drain our green beans first. And then once they're drained, we will put them into cold water. We're going to put them into a bowl of cold water and then also add a tray of ice cubes. So that's what that looks like. And that's a weird step, but I will tell you, if you don't do that, your green beans will kind of keep cooking and they will get shrivelly and they won't look as good. If you're just making this for yourself at home and you're feeling kind of lazy and you don't want to do that step, you don't have to. But I tried it without that step because I'm always trying to, make things easier. And I didn't like it. I didn't like those shrivelly green beans. All right. Okay. So this is step 2. We're just going to leave the green beans in the bowl for a little while. And we're finishing up with step 3. We already did that. The mushrooms, the onion, the rosemary, and the garlic. And I'm just going to turn this off now. These are well cooked. Looks so good. And then step 4 is we're just going to finish the sauce. So we're just going to blend this till it's nice and smooth. This is a Vitamix. Do you guys have a Vitamix? I love mine. Red's my favorite color, so I got one in red. And my model is a 5200, which is my favorite one. I have a different one at work, but this is my favorite model. Okay, so that's nice and smooth. And before we put it all together, I just wanted to show you the baking dishes. So we're going to bake this in about a 1.5 quart to 2 quart baking dish. This is one option, an 8x8, and this is one I use quite a bit at home. But I had been thinking, like, I want something a little cuter for the table, because what I'm baking this casserole in, I'm just going to put it right on the holiday table. So I wanted it to look nice. So I found this at Sur La Table. And I did make the casserole that I used on the picture. I used this and it worked just fine. Just check the bottom to make sure it says that it's oven safe. So I did use that. And then I got that at Sur La Table. I went to a local kind of fancy kitchen store looking for 1.5 casserole. I didn't find anything that was grabbing me. And then yesterday I happened to be in a grocery store, just a grocery store, Lucky's, and I found this little gem, which is 1.5 quarts. So this is what I had been looking for all along, and I found it at Lucky's. I can't believe that. I have an addiction to buying dishes, I guess. I also found this, which is a deep dish pie pan, which could work too. So the idea is whatever you have that's about that size, you can use. It doesn't need to be square. It doesn't need to be round, whatever. It just needs to be about 1.5 to 2 quarts. And you don't need to prepare it with any oil or parchment paper or anything because there's a lot of liquid in this. It's not gonna stick. Hi Annette, I was gonna buy a Vitamix, but my Breville blender does fine. Yeah, my mom has a Breville. They're kind of competitors, I guess. They're both really good. All right, so step 4, we blended our sauce and we're gonna mix everything together. Let me go ahead and drain my beans. They're nice and cool. Okay, so there's our beans. We're gonna add those in. And we're gonna put our sauce in. And the sauce is really thin right now, but when it bakes, it's gonna thicken up because it's got those 2 tablespoons of flour in there. Now, if you don't wanna use flour, you could probably use another thickener if you have another favorite one that you like arrowroot or something. But if you don't put any kind of thickener or flour, it's not going to get thick. It's going to be rich because it has the cashews in it, but it's not going to kind of thicken up. So just stir this, and then I'm going to get, this thing. And I'm going to use this dish today. And I wonder if I can just grab this and pour it. This is a heavy pot. All right. So we'll see how this goes. I always like experimenting live in my videos. Hopefully it'll work instead of ladling all this into the baking pan. Okay. All right, so just pour it all in. Hey, that worked pretty well. And we'll just kind of even it out a little. This is such a cute little baking pan. And this was only $14. It was like half the price of those others that I had already bought. So who knew? I generally don't shop at Lucky's, but I was very impressed. All right, so there is that. And let me just move this out of the way so we can have a better view here. So the last step is the onions on top. So there we go. So if you've ever had green bean casserole, you know that the traditional topping is, what do you call them? Crunchy fried onions. They're like onion rings, kind of. But they have oil and they have salt if you buy them. I forget the brand. Libby's. I forget the brand. They come in a can and you just put them on afterwards. But I don't do any oil or salt. So I tried making my own crispy onions and I just wasn't successful. I tried dehydrating them and I just don't like dehydrating. It takes too darn long. I don't like having my oven on that long. So what I ended up using is these freeze-dried shallots. And then you can also use some minced onion, or you could do nothing. You could just leave it like that too. But I would put these on after it bakes. I mean, you could probably put it on before. I've never put it on before. I'm going to go ahead and do that and just try it and see if they like brown a little bit, maybe. Freeze-dried shallots are kind of fun. This is from Savory Spice. You can find them online. Nice. So as I said, before when I did this, I put these on after I took it out of the oven. But we will see how I do. And then the minced onion is a little bit smaller pieces. So I think I'm just going to go with those shallots right now. And that is it. So we're going to put this in the oven for, what do I say, 25 minutes, 20 minutes, and uncovered. And then when it comes out, it's going to be nice and creamy, and the edges are going to be kind of browned. Oops. There we go. All right. So that is it. Did I talk too fast? Did I go too fast? It's really not that difficult of a recipe. You know, once you have everything kind of ready to go and together, you do have to do that chopping. I know not everybody loves the chopping. I love my 8-inch chef's knife. I did not find this particular one on Amazon, so it's not in my store. It's called a Dragon, and it's an 8-inch chef's knife by Yaxell, Yaxell, and it was about $130 to $40. So I love this one. And then Rebecca does have the links to my other 2 knives if you're interested. It's in the other room. I have a shorter one that's my everyday kind of utility knife. And then I have an 8-inch chef's knife that's $38. So it's a lot less expensive, but it's still a good knife. And then this is a chopper that I've shown before, my Xylus chopper. It's kind of like that little garlic chopper that I used earlier, except it's bigger. And this is great if you wanted to chop onions pretty finely. But I wanted my onions a little bigger today, so I didn't use this. But this is a great chopper if you're interested. Also, if you know someone who loves to cook, this is great. It's just a great kitchen tool. A friend of mine puts all the salsa stuff in there at once, and then you just pull it like 5 times and you have salsa. So that is a great little tool. Oh, and I forgot to add black pepper to my sauce. So you can do that when you make it if you like. And I think that's all the things that I wanted to show you guys. There's the links to the knives. All right, you guys, thank you so much for watching. Oh, Rebecca, put up the picture of the finished casserole, if you would. There it is. So you can see how the sauce is kind of creamy, browned around the edges a little bit. The beans do kind of shrivel a tiny little bit, but if you didn't do that cold soak, it would be a lot more. So I think that looks so yummy. So I'm not going to keep you on the video and talk about cats for 20 minutes while that cooks. I will just show you that picture, and you can go to my website to get the recipe if you like. And I just must have talked fast today. Or like I said, that's a pretty easy recipe. So I'm done today. My next live video will be on Sunday, December, I believe it's 19th, when I'll be presenting as part of Chef AJ's holiday extravaganza. So if you're on my mailing list, you'll hear about that, and on Facebook. All right, you guys, thanks for showing up again, and I will see you soon. All right, bye. Happy holidays.